So, welcome back. This is part 3 of this tutorial series. Currently, we are finishing off this little top portion here. I'm not entirely sure what it's called again, because I don't know a lot about guns. Yeah, I don't. A lot of technical gun words, if you're looking for those, well, you won't find them here, so sorry for that, I guess, but you will find decent modeling, I guess, here. So, because that's what I'm trying to teach here. So, again, using the little flatten technique I taught you before, well, I taught myself, I guess. Going to make this little part correct and connect some of the edges up here, I think. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. No. Okay, fine. Not sure what I'm doing here. Selecting random edges is always fun, but I think now... yeah, I'm going to be extruding this. I'm going to tweak this so it looks correct with the reference, and then I'm going to keep fill the inside up, I guess would be the correct term, or something like that. So extruding this out, just I have extrude. If you're wondering how I do that, I don't have shift drag or anything like that. I just have extrude assigned to a hotkey, so it goes very quickly for me. So that's why I can do stuff like that. So here I'm just going to connect this up completely, and that'll be it for that one. And it'll look just to estimate how good the edge flow is. It'll look quite good right away. So it's very nice as always. I'm going to flatten that out as well using that same technique, which is very useful. Obviously I could have used the snap to thing, but I felt like doing that because snapping I tend to just really use when I need to. When I need to mirror things over or something like that, because then it's really useful. But otherwise, I tend to think that this version is fine. So you can see that just from doing that, it looks very good. And don't think much is going to happen with this part. This part I'm quite happy with. So I might just chop it up a little bit, but otherwise I'm quite happy with it. So it looks quite good. And you can see right now I have it mirrored over. I know that both sides aren't symmetrical. I'm going to fix that when I've done this side, and so yeah, that's just about that. So I think this. Let's just see. I think this video accidentally. Yeah. So here I'm just tweaking this part down here, trying to make it look a bit correct. Doesn't really work out too well because I'd stretched some geometry I didn't want to stretch, but I do think I fixed that by the end of it, and not too much harm has been done, so you can see me do fixing it there. Trying to figure out a way on how to make that look correct, but don't think I manage. Well, I do extrude that out there, so maybe that works, I'm sure. I can't really remember. Don't think that will, though, but who knows, Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The small mysteries that make this world right here. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, trying to always deleting the inside faces when extruding is a very good thing to remember, because keeping those inside faces is wasting polygons, and no one likes wasting polygons, right, wasting polygons is bad, very bad. So this might actually work fairly okay for me, I'm not sure. See a lot, but that's just because I have nothing else. Okay, yeah, that looks terrible. Wow, okay, yeah, that didn't work out at all. So yeah, I'm going to undo all of that. Don't worry, it'll be fixed. I said I'll end up just doing this probably. But I don't think this will this work? That actually looks just as terrible. I'm not sure how. I know I end up fixing that somehow, but I don't think I remember how. Oh, I think no. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is one of those parts where I kind of zone out completely and I just forget entirely what I've done. It tends to happen a lot when I'm 3D modeling. I just tend to, at first I tend to be really into it, but then at the like at the midpoint, at the point of no return, I tend to just kind of zone out completely and just forget entirely that I'm doing anything. Just working off of routine, and I mean, it sounds like it's really boring, but it's really not. I enjoy it. Trust me, I really enjoy this stuff, and hopefully you do too. Otherwise, I guess you wouldn't be watching this video unless you have some weird class or something in this, but I don't. I'm doing this completely as a hobby, and yeah. Oh yeah, I think I'll leave it at this for this moment. Maybe scale. Oh yeah, I'm going to scale down a bit. But yeah, that looks fine. So that's probably it for now. I'm going to scale that down again, and now we're going to cut up to this part right here. Adding a few edge loops just to keep it completely fresh, right? Fresh, new and fresh. That nice new model smell, the new smell of polygons in the morning. Yeah, geeky stuff, I know, but yeah. And you see that little weird arrow thing where the meshes turn like see-through? I'm not entirely sure what that is. I mean, it's not that the normals are wrong, I'm checking them right now, but it's something with like history or something, but deleting history doesn't fix it. I'm not sure exactly. Generally, resetting the material tends to fix it a bit, but not even that at times fixes it, which is very odd. So I tend to just duplicate the object, and that tends to clear it out a bit, but if it doesn't, just mess around until it fixes itself. Also remember to, unless you're running some sort of weird monstrous rig, which I'm not, remember to delete history in your Maya on your object, because that can make, if you have too much history on your object, it can make Maya crash, and you don't want that. Also, on that note, always turn in your preferences, or whatever it is, always turn incremental saving on, because that's very useful. If you don't know what that is, it's basically when you save, when you hit save every time, it doesn't just overwrite the same file, it saves it in different files automatically, and it saves it in numbered files. So let's say if you have, if you save and then do some work and then it crashes, your entire file isn't gone. You can revert back to the old save file. And it's so incredibly useful, because I'm sure everyone who's been in this little industry has had one of those moments where just Maya crashes, or their 3D program of choice crashes, and you lose everything you've been working on, and you get very angry, to say the least. But if you have incremental saving on, that tends to not be too much of an issue. And always get into the habit of pressing Control S if you're on Windows, or Command S if you're on the Mac. Get into the habit of pressing that a lot, because that's you'll be saving a lot if you're smart. Saving is a very good thing. Obviously, if you have a very like big mesh, like multiple thousands or millions of polygons in Maya, you don't want to save too much, because the save files do take up a lot of space. But still, it's good practice to save every few minutes or so. I have this weird spasm where I just save constantly, and it tends to eat up my hard drive space far too quickly. While we reach sorry for that cut right there, but yeah, as I was saying, yeah, I got a phone call, had to reply to that, but yeah, so as I was saying, I have a very spasm of saving constantly, and that tends to eat up my hard drive space. So that was pretty much that. But what we're doing here is there's this interesting front bit here, which I'm trying to get correct, where the barrel kind of inserts into, it's kind of interesting the way that this works, and took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do it, so I'll just end up showing it. So here I'm just panning around, trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, and it looks like I'm panning around slowly in double speed, which only means that I'm panning around real slowly in real-time speed. So you know what I'm thinking when I'm doing that. But yeah, I end up just extruding those phases. I think I keep it like that for a while now, because I'm not adding the barrel until the until right at the end. So that's where I'm going to be tweaking quite a bit of this stuff. So that's all good. Yeah, so that's basically it. Now I'm going to tweak some more of the geometry, because it doesn't look completely correct. Trying to figure out how I want to do this, because it's one of those parts that are kind of tricky to get your head around, and I need to kind of sit down and just think about how I want the edges to work. And while that's a bit boring, that's how I do things, right? So yeah, extruding those inwards. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep them like this, but yeah. I think I extruded that a bit wrongly, had a few extra edges selected, so I end up undoing that and redoing it. Undoing is such a good thing, right? Yeah, I know most people who work on the computer gets very accustomed to having undo on, and it's just a very useful tool. Even though it's not really a tool, it's more an option, but I'm very thankful that it exists nonetheless. So There you can see me having an n-gon right there, and I'm going to try and fix that, because it's... While I said that n-gons generally tend to be not too big of a deal, yeah, this one kind of is, and I mean, all n-gons aren't bad, but some are. This I'd classify as being one of those bad ones, so I'm trying to figure out a way to fix that now with just deleting general edges, and yeah, I think it takes me a while, but I think I do fix it by the end. Also, an important thing to do, to take notice of when you're doing the thing that I mentioned before of deleting your vertices, after you've deleted your edge loops, what I can do is just being lazy and selecting all vertices and just hitting backspace, because the vertices that are already connected to an edge, those don't actually get deleted when you're pressing backspace. So all you really have to do is select all of them and press backspace, and it'll automatically delete the loose ones. So that's generally what I tend to do. But if you have an open edge where you have like a vertice, let's say, just out there in nothing, but connected to a face, generally it tends to delete the vertice and make it into something like a triangle, and so you might need to keep that in mind. You might need to add a few more vertices at times by the open edges you've got, so just keep that in mind when working, and not that it takes a long time. I'm just telling you that if you don't know what's causing your model to maybe have an extra triangle, that might be it. So look at your open edges, people. Edges. Look at them. So there you can see one of those examples of me having a triangle from deleting the vertices and having to add an extra one in. So yeah. So let's see what we have here. We have I'm going to add some more control edges, trying to not screw up the geometry, and I don't really have to do that either because my edge flow is set up correctly. Well, set up kind of correctly. You can see me having some issues by this one area right here, and again, I think most of this part is going to be me trying to fix that, and not maybe the most exciting part, but it's part of the 3D pipeline, trying to fix edge flow, and obviously it comes into play a bit more if you're making organic meshes, and like re-topologizing them, but in this case it also comes into play quite a bit, so I figured maybe you guys want to see how I fixed it. And again, just using the standard insert edge tool, which is a very useful tool. As I've said multiple times now, I'm kind of running out of things to say here, because while it's fun, this stuff, it's quite self-explanatory, and yeah. So what I'm doing here is, I think, wait, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, I'm going to try. I've noticed that when I smooth the mesh by pressing preview with the smooth mesh preview, I've noticed that the curves aren't as sharp as I wanted them to be. They're kind of like C curves now, kind of smooth, like circle-like curves, which obviously isn't what I want. I want them to be sharp and responsive. I'm not really sure how a curve could be responsive, but I want it to be sharp anyway, and so I'm going to try and redirect edges to make it work properly, and hopefully that'll work fairly decently. So here I'm doing some weird stuff with... also, I don't think I've mentioned this 3 parts in, but the way I connect up holes, if I don't use the fill holes tool, is by using the pen to polygon tool, where you can... it's on the edit mesh menu set. If you select it, and you can select one open edge, and you can select another one close to it, and it'll make a face in between them. Like very like straightforward tool, really, if you use it. I'm not sure if I explained it easily enough, but it's a very straightforward tool if you are going to try and use it. So not really much to explain there. It basically just fills up holes, and it's a very cool tool. So here I'm going to extrude this spot out, because I end up realizing that it's actually like that. Those 2 parts actually intersect with each other, so I figured I'd make it look like that. So I'm going to delete the little inside bit right there. I'm going to also you might see me. I'm not sure if it's that obvious when I have sped out like this, but you might see me hiding certain parts of the mesh or certain objects. The way I'm doing that is I'm pressing Ctrl H on my keyboard, and that'll automatically hide it. And to unhide, either you can press Ctrl Shift H, which unhides the previously hidden object, or you can press you can go up to the display option or the display menu set up there, and you can go down to show, and then show all, or show geometry, and then all, or show geometry, and then all polygon surfaces, depending on what you want to show. And it's kind of like isolating. It's kind of like isolating, but a bit more customizable, I guess. isolating selection is good, but it's not. I don't find it. At times, it doesn't do what I want it to do. So I might need to do that at times. So you can see that it's quite a dense mesh at the top here because I have so much detail at the front, and I want the front to be as the same mesh as the back bit right there. So it gets quite bunched up, but I don't think the edges are too hard, and even though they are like that, I don't think they're too hard. They are kind of hard, but I guess that's to be seen in post or in baking to see if they're too hard. But I don't think they are really. I think this will work out just fine. Again, following my references. Very important to follow your reference, people. Reference is God, and very, very good to follow it in 3D. No matter what you're modeling, some people have this impression that they're actually better when that their model gets better or something, that you get more respect or something by modeling without a reference, like it means that they're better, but it really doesn't. It just means you're stupider. I mean, some people do know actually, like how, say, anatomy works. Like some people are anatomy freaks, and they can model like almost completely anatomically correct models, like in ZBrush, without reference. But those are like 1 in a million. They literally aren't that popularly seen. So generally, even if you know like the stuff you're modeling inside out, still use reference, people. It's very, very key, because maybe otherwise you'll just get something small wrong, and that small wrong, maybe you work like based on that small issue, and generally what ends up as a small issue can turn into a very, very big one at the end. So it's always important to keep that in mind when working. Keep reference in mind. Reference, reference, reference. It doesn't mean you're a chicken for using it. It probably means you're a chicken if you don't use it, actually. It's just so useful. Can't stress it enough. So there's another one of those examples where it gave me a triangle on one of those open edges when I'm trying to delete them. So I'm going to go in and fix that right now. The way I fix it is just make another vertex in the face with the split polygon tool, snap that vertex to the bottom vertex, and then use the grid snapping to snap that to the center x-axis. So very, very simple right there. Just takes a few seconds, and it's very nice. So yeah. So let's see what I'm doing here. I'm going to fill. I guess there's also some geometry issues right there, so I'm going to fill those up and get on with my life. And I guess that's good. So let's see what I'm doing here. Let's see here. Sorry if you can hear any background noise, but having family like always disturbs you, right? And I have to get this recorded sometime, so hopefully it's not too big an issue. And so what do we have here? We're probably going to keep tweaking this area. I mean, I'm quite happy with the geometry I've got here, but still, it's not perfect. So I'm going to try and fix that right now by extruding and scaling, but it doesn't quite work out. So yeah, let's just see here. Looking around here, just panning around. When I pan around like this, or I guess it's no, not really panning. I guess it's rotating around my mesh. Really, that's my way of thinking. I don't like staring at one point of the model all the time. The way I think is that I just completely tumble. That's what I want. I keep tumbling around the model constantly, and that's just the way I see it. So yeah. So here I'm going to add the little center bit there. I'm going to connect those edges up, and I'm going to snap them, and we have it up. I'm not really sure why I deleted that entire edge loop, but I'm going to fill it up, and we are almost done with this bit right here. Well, with one of the sides anyway. Of course, we have one entire side left, but this one's almost done, which is very happy, and stuff like that. So yeah. So here you can see I have some issues. Too smooth curves is one of them, and yeah, I would have to go in and fix those. You can see I'm getting far bothered with that just watching this tutorial. Those by the front there, that little square bit that's meant to be square is actually very curvy right now, and we'll probably fix it right now even. Maybe. Go to try and fix it right now. Well, that didn't fix it. Come on, Seb, come on. There we don't go. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah, come on. Oh, yeah, I have an end gun, though. I didn't even realize that most of the time. Yeah, that's another one of my small ignorant moments, right? Forgetting you have an end gun and having to fix that, but that's why the geometry wasn't working out too well. But yeah, I'm going to go in and fix that right now. So very, very easy fixed, considering, like I've said previously, our edge loop is good, or our edge flow is good, so it's very easy to add edges. So again, very simple, straightforward, add an edge loop, and so now I can probably add a bit. Yeah, you see that, I can do that. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, yeah, sharp. Yeah, that's been bothering me for the longest of times, but I haven't been able to fix it. So here I'm adding some more edges right there, making that edge just on the branch or too sharp, but I think it's workable. I don't think it's super duper sharp. Might fix that by the end. So yeah, I'm just cutting to this part right now with the gun. Going to make that little screw bit. Quite straightforward how I'm going to make this. You'll probably guess it yourself. Going to make a cylinder, and apparently having some issues with the translates of this cylinder. I'm going to make a new one, and maybe not make a new one. There we are. And just scaling that down and adding control edges and adding a slight bulge to it, and then I'll be done. Although I'm going to add one little extra thing to this one, but that I'll notify you of when I'm doing it. So yeah, doing exactly what I said previously, adding a bit of a bulge, adding control edges, and that's pretty much it. Now, however, I'm going to add a bit more of a fancy thing. I'm going to add a slight inset, I suppose. Not this, but you'll see it soon. I think I'm adding it right up now because I think. Oh yeah, I'm going to first duplicate that over because that's pretty much the same screw as that one, just a bit smaller. So I'm just duplicating that over, reusing meshes, which is always good, saves you time. So why not do it, right? Right. So that already looks quite good. But what I want is what I'm going to do here. Also, you might see me framing up on different objects. I might have to mention that as well. If you select an object and hit F on your keyboard, that frames up on it. Basically, it just zooms the camera right in on that object, and like it changes your camera's pivot point to that object, so you can tumble around it very easily. So here you can see what I'm doing here. I'm doing some very fancy floating stuff here. Well, now I'm reversing my normals, but you can see how that looks like that. It kind of looks like it's inset into the mesh, and it looks quite good. So that's what I'm going to have on that one. It doesn't really look like that on the actual gun, but I figured it looked good. Kind of makes sense, so I figured maybe I should do it. Right? So I'm going to do that. Selecting the faces, scaling them down because it wasn't looking. It was a bit fat, honestly, but now it looks good, and might actually do the same thing on this one. I'm not entirely sure if I do it or not. Yeah, I'm actually doing the same thing on this one, because I liked how it looked, so, yeah. So, I'm going to have to rotate this a bit, because, again, I duplicated this from another one, and it wasn't quite correct, placement-wise, but, so, yeah, there we are. Looks quite decent, and, yeah. And that's the beauty of floating geometry. I don't need to attach it to the mesh for it to look good. I can just keep it like there, and it looks like it's attached to the mesh anyway. That's why you should always use floating geometry, people. It keeps your mesh clean, and it looks just as good on your bake. And some people tend to not even want to use it, but yeah. So here I'm going to start doing the other side here. I'll duplicate it over, and I'm going to delete that part of it. And now I'm going to fix up this side of it, because it doesn't look as it should. It looks a bit different, right? The other side looks different than the first side, I guess. Oh, sorry. So yeah, let's just see here. What are we doing now? We are, in fact, tweaking edge loops, yeah. So yeah. Okay, yeah, so here we go. Now I'm going to start fixing it. Yeah, I'm going to actually take those two edges right there and extrude them along that curve right there. so that we get the correct geometry. That's always good. So extending those down there now, it looks quite correct, and we're just going to attach it to the other ones now. The geometry on the little flat bit right there is quite messy, and I'm going to have to fix that up quite soon, so I'll probably just end up deleting most of the faces, and maybe no, actually I think I'm keeping it like this. Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much because I don't care really about polygon count, and it doesn't need to be clean in those areas because I'm not really adding any true edge loops in those areas, so keeping those a bit dirty isn't the biggest issue in the world, honestly. So let's see how this looks now. Yeah, I'm going to that's pretty much done. I'm going to extrude this along the top there, and there I did the snap thing to keep those straight, and extruding it out and extruding it forward, and then pushing it a little bit in just to keep that little smooth edge because that looks cool. And that's pretty much that side done. So very easy if you have the one side. See, looks good. Just need to tweak some of the placement to make it look correct. And yeah, I call that down. And now we are here. I'm just tweaking some things here because I figured it looked a bit messy. So yeah, I'm just fixing it. Yeah. Let's see here. There we go. I think this will work quite well. Again, not going to attach this in the hand because that would require a lot of weird geometry on my side, and while it might end up looking a bit better, it might not add too much to the mesh anyway, because again, that part of the gun isn't going to be shown too much, and besides, it looks just fine intersecting like that. So that's what I'm going to end up doing, right? So yeah, it looks good. Definitely looks decent. And I think that's all we want to do for that side, actually. We just might want to make the little middle portion right now, maybe tweak some edges, and yeah, tweaking some edges, pushing this, flattening that so it looks better. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. I do like that. It's quite good. That edge was a bit too harsh, so I'm going to smooth it out. So I'm just pushing it back, and again, that's one of the good things about Smooth Mesh Preview is that you can actually edit in it, so you can see interactively how your control edges are changing the shading of the geometry, and it's very, very fun. If anything, I just find it very fun to do with this stuff. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm silly. Who knows, right? So it's actually starting to look like a gun now, which is good. Not just a floating handle. I think, yeah, this geometry right here is quite messy, honestly, but I don't think I'm going to be bothered too much with changing it. As I said previously, not required, not too required anyway, so I'm going to keep it like that. I think we're actually reaching the end point of this part here, so not entirely. Well, we have a slight bit left, so I'm going to spend this bit tweaking this little hand part, trying to make it look correct, but actually just making it look worse. Which is not one of those things that I tend to do. I tend to make things look worse, and I try to make them look better, and then after I've made it look worse, I realize what I should have done to make it look better, and I facepalm. But yeah, so let's see. Going to scale that down a bit because I figured it was a bit fat, and yeah, doesn't look terrible. I have to say, it doesn't look terrible. It's starting to shape up as a gun now, which is always good. I mean, you want your gun to look like a gun, right? And yeah. So here we are. Gonna scale a bit more. You'll see me scale. As I said, I think I mentioned this in the start of the video series. I don't actually have any straight-on front image planes or reference images, so I have to kind of eyeball how thick the entire thing is, which is quite annoying, honestly. I really did want the front reference, but that doesn't quite happen. But yeah, we're reaching the end of the second part here, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next part. And this wasn't the second part, this was actually the third part, sorry for that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.